And now let's get into the All-ACC team as was announced here in the last day for 2021. And I know, Cam, of course, you've taken exception to past selections, so let's run it down. I don't see anybody on the first team offense for Miami. First team defense.
None either.
I do not see anyone for Miami. On the second team offense, we have Charleston Rambo at wide receiver. And he would be the representative along with DJ Scaife at guard on the second team offense. Second team defense, we have.
Then there's somebody? No defense.
No one. And then on special teams, Lou Headley on the second team. I would like to see the first team punter. I'll have to go back and check that out. And then on the third team offense, nobody. Third team defense, nobody. And so then we've got a number of honorable mentions. So
yeah,
before you start, I'm just trying to do the math here. So we've got 3 units of offense and defense per side. That's 3 times 11, 33, 66 players, if I'm looking at that correctly. 2 from a 7-5 Miami team seems to be a bit scarce.
I mean, 3 including the punter. Well, yeah, I'm sorry, that's not offense or defense. You know, it's but that's also emblematic of like this season, right? So, are you going to give Mike Harley the Career Achievement Award for being the all-time leading receiver at Miami and put him on one of those teams? I mean, like, he's a decent player, you know, like, and he was valuable to our offense, but I don't see where he gets over any of those players. Now, my one point of contention is Charleston Rambo for first team, because he was 5 points away. Dontavian Wicks and A.T. Perry were tied at 131 points. Jordan Addison and Josh Downs were far and away the number 1 and 2 vote getters. But you know, those other players come from teams that won more than 7 games. And I think that's really the line of demarcation. But if you put them individually, give me Rambo, honestly. I tweeted it last week that there is a discussion to be had for Tyler Van Dyke for first team All-ACC. Now, I knew he was not going to get it, but it is not unreasonable to say that there is a logical foundation based upon what we saw for first team All-ACC. There's an argument to be made, even if you disagree. And again, I'm not saying that it was a shoo-in, 100% unanimous, you know, when Sunshine was at Clemson kind of a situation. Stop. I didn't say that. But we can talk about it. But, you know, also that player, if you have that conversation, is throwing to someone. But then again, Charleston Rambo was clearly the number 1 vote getter on the second team. But if there was anybody to be first team All-ACC, it would be Charleston Rambo in my eyes. DJ Scaife, honestly, started a little rough, but then he did play well through the season. There were some penalty issues early that cleared up for him personally. You know, so we see that. Lou Headley, you know, he did a fine job when we punted. You know, and the NC State punter was first team All-ACC. And that's fine. You know, he's, you know, Headley is who he is, and he's really good. So first, second team, I'm fine with that for him. The honorable mentions, I think there were like 5 or 6. That email was sent out. 8 Hurricanes, it says here. Let me see. Jalen Knighton, Zion Nelson, Tyreek Stevenson, James Williams, and Andy Borregales, all honorable mention. Okay. You know, James Williams was 3rd in the voting for Defensive Rookie of the Year in the conference. That's great. Borregales, I think if he makes that kick against Virginia, might have made one of the all-conference teams. I think that one kick really put him to the honorable mention as opposed to one of the teams kind of things. And Zion Nelson, you know, people were talking about him as a first-round draft pick coming into the year. I didn't see that from him, but, you know, overall decent. He, you know, enough that, you know, and he has a name too, you know, because everybody knows this 2-star who was committed to App State. And so, you know, there's that. And then Jalen Knighton, yeah, he had the suspension that he had to come back from, but after that, you know, played pretty well. I think there were some games where the overall run game wasn't too great, but, you know, he was the lead guy pretty early on in the season. You know, so for the second, I mean, well, 2/3 of the season, he was pretty much the number one guy. So, you know, all those fit. The other thing I will say, and this is really informed by the previous thing that I said, I think that it's crazy that, and I get it because of the next point of conversation. I think that it's crazy that Tyler Van Dyke was not even honorable mention All-ACC. I mean, again, I think that there was if you look at it a certain way, now you have to discount the fact that he didn't start the first part of the year. That's the point of conversation. You know, we're looking at when he played and how he played, when he played things. But I was saying you can have a conversation for being first team All-ACC. You didn't even make honorable mention. That's kind of crazy to me. You know, with guys getting 18 and 19 points of voting that were honorable mention guys, and that was not even Tyler Van Dyke, based upon what we saw. And I know that the team is bad, you know, and lost 5 games, but like, you know, Carolina beat us, but they were only 8-4. They were a game better.
No, they weren't.
Oh, they weren't? They went 7-5?
Carolina finished 6-6.
Oh, look.
Right?
So I'm even wrong. I was assuming.
Let me double check myself. I'm stating that off memory of remembering everybody's records. Mm-hmm. I'm almost positive they were 6-5 entering the NC State game. Then they lost to NC State to finish 6-6.
Let me click. You are correct, sir.
Okay.
And their quarterback is honorable mention All-ACC. Same thing with Virginia's quarterback. He's third team All-ACC. But like, and I know that Brennan Armstrong started super well and everything, but like, again, it's just kind of crazy to me, right? But overall, yeah, you did get some guys who earned recognitions. I don't necessarily think that anybody really missed out on being recognized on the All-ACC teams through this year. Maybe an honorable mention for like a Leonard Taylor, who when he came in was consistently the highest graded player. You know, tackles for loss, wreaking havoc, disrupting plays. Like that would be maybe the one that I would say to add. But you know, congratulations to everybody. But the real omission here for me is Tyler Van Dyke, and I get why. And after this question, you're gonna like it'll make sense.
One comment from me on the quarterback vote, and then also the just the overall approach to this is, to Cam's point, Tyler Van Dyke started how many games?
Let me see. Came in 4, so 8.
So he played 8 games. So he played 2/3 of the season.
But he played in game 4. Did he start? So he might have started 9 because he did, but like he did not play the first 3, but he played the other 9.
Okay, so he played either 2/3 or 75% of the season. Okay, so if you prorate his numbers, so you, number one, in a sense, need to prorate his numbers. Obviously, he did not compile those numbers, but it has to be taken into context that he accomplished what he did: 25 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, 2,800 yards passing within a limited number of games, number one. Number two, you also have to take into consideration, if people are thinking while they're doing this, and I sometimes question that he generally, not across the board, but generally faced better competition because he faced the conference schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Generally. Didn't face Alabama, of course, in game 1, but faced the conference schedule versus everybody else playing the 3 to 4 cupcakes generally in non-conference play. The other thing you got to say about the ACC is, and I'm critical of the ACC, I think it's been down for about 3 to 4 years. I do not think it's a good conference right now, but the quarterback play is pretty stout. If you would compare those top 4, like if you consider Van Dyke, put him in the top 5 with the 3 that made the first, second, and third team, and then Sam Howell. Sam Howell was a Heisman Trophy front runner to start this season, and he made the honorable mention behind Pickett, Hartman, and Armstrong, who all put up prolific numbers, like ridiculous numbers. Even the NC State quarterback's good. Devin Leary, he's got like a 25-5 kind of TD to pick ratio.
35-5.
Okay. And he's not even on there.
Right. I mean, no,
So
there is
that's
strong
6
quarterback
deep.
play.
That's 6 deep, and then you throw in Malik
Yeah.
Cunningham. He's a good player.
Yeah. And I mean, I put it in. There's a tweet from David Hale, ESPN, that I put after the game, but I also put in the Tyler Van Dyke ACC Rookie and Offensive Rookie of the Year piece that I put together today. So basically, Van Dyke did not play the first 3 games. He came in, played against or started against Central Connecticut State, split that game with Jake Garcia. Garcia broke his ankle in that game. Tyler Van Dyke plays every other snap, basically. 2,931 yards and 25 touchdowns. If he were in the Big Ten, Tyler Van Dyke would be second in touchdowns and 4th in yards. If he were in the Big 12, he would be number 1 in touchdowns and 2nd in yards by 58 yards total. If he were in the Pac-12, he would lead the conference in both of those statistics. And that speaks to Mark's point too, of he did that, and if he were in these other places and other conferences, that would be his statistical standing. And he did that in 3/4 of the season, and he's in the conversation of the top 5, 4 or 5-ish, in the ACC and everything. But no, strong season from him. But again, if there is one snub to be discussed, that's really the one.
And I will certainly edit and retract anything that I say that I, on second thought, think's a bit questionable. So I do stand by my statement that, generally speaking, if a quarterback in Power 5 play plays against the Power 5 and does not play against the non-conference schedule, he is generally playing better competition. In this case, having missed Alabama and Michigan State, I can understand that's his numbers are probably pretty reflective of the productivity there. But again, did I get this right? He would have led the Pac-12 and the Big Ten in touchdown passes? Or was it the Big 12? Regardless.
Big 12 and Pac-12, he would have been 2nd in touchdowns in the Big 10.
Well, yeah, Stroud threw a million.
Yeah,
but
in the ACC, because I pulled it up, in terms of touchdowns, his 25 are 5th behind Brendan Armstrong, Sam Hartman, Devin Leary, and Kenny Pickett.
Wow.
But yeah, but again, that just goes to your point that there was definitely some strong quarterback play in conference this year.